And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Jalapeña, a Gargoyles Garcast. I am your host, Jason Roy Gaston, and the man to my side, the one, the only, a VHS Jase. Good day, sir.
I'm still confused of why the show is called this.
And I
We're
will
watching Gargoyles, but I have no idea what else this is.
and I will happily revel in the mystery until you find out and are completely underwhelmed. But anyway, kind of a special show today because this is our first show. I mean, this is going to be like a month past by the time this one airs, but this is our first show that we've recorded together since you and I were physically in the same place, and that place was the island of Manhattan, otherwise known as the home of the Gargoyles. And
That is
so
true.
now I like to think that we are geographically experts on
Well,
the
it's
home
a
turf.
fact-finding mission, wasn't it? We
really
were that
was.
committed to this show that we had to go and do some scouting to ensure that we understood everything that was going on in this
Yes,
show.
and we searched every bush in Central Park. We scoped every single ledge, and I am happy to report. What's that? What's that phrase from Spaceballs? Oh yeah, we ain't found shit.
No gargoyles anyway.
No gargoyles. So I'm just assuming that they were up on a big skyscraper we couldn't see.
I didn't think about looking up.
It probably would have helped. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Today's episode from the first season, this is Temptation, written by Bran Chandler Reeves. And, well, this is a story. I'm going to get into my interpretation of the story here in just a little bit. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about where we find the trio. They are working on a motorcycle.
Cool.
Yes, and I know what you're thinking. These guys can fly. Why do they need a motorcycle? Why, indeed? Well, there was a toy line.
And it looks cool.
Every toy line needs toys, and so this was to sell the Rip'n Rider cycle. And as you can see, there's Brooklyn riding on it right there. And I want to prepare you for the horror because the action figures they were not good.
Oh no! Don't say that. Oh no!
Yeah.
What is that?
He looks like he has scoliosis.
What did they do?
I don't know. It's like,
Goliath, help me! I can't see over the ledge.
But yeah, that's
He came through that transporter thing in the fly, and he didn't quite crack right.
Just call me Brooklyn Fly.
But yeah, this was, I believe the word that Freakazoid told us about was called toyetic. This was the toyetic moment in Gargoyles where they had to justify why the gang had a Rip'n Rider cycle. Because, Brooklyn.
Well, you got me pickled because I thought it was appropriate for the character.
And
I thought, I could see Brooklyn riding a motorcycle.
Props to the writing staff. They make it appropriate. It could have easily been, he has a motorcycle, motorcycle's gone now you can get the toy. No, they did. I've actually looked on eBay. They're not that extravagantly priced, so I will be adding to my growing Gargoyles collection over there. I keep saying I'm going to show you these, and I never do. They're right over there.
Yeah, look, is there a good Gargoyles figure toy line at least come out at some point?
Ramble for a moment, and I will be right back.
Okay, we're going to talk about that because this thing here, this disturbs me. This is bad. This is like they didn't even try to scale it. And the front of it, what the hell is that? That doesn't even look like what we saw in the animated cartoon.
Are you done yet?
Oh yeah, I'm done ranting about it.
Okay, so anyway, you saw Scoliosis Brooklyn a little while ago. This is NECA Brooklyn.
Wow, he's
way better, and you can see he's got the sunglasses.
NECA.
Yeah, NECA has got great ones. I've got all of the NECA figures,
gorgeous
of the core except for Lexington. I haven't found a Lexington yet. There's also the Gargoyle robot. I don't have him yet, and there's a couple of characters that have not been introduced yet that I don't want to spoil us on. But
fair enough. But that looks great. That looks great.
He's terrific.
Yeah.
The Goliath figures, great. There's another figure over there that Hey, you've also not been introduced to yet, so I'm not gonna show them to you yet. But yeah, they're really nice figures. I have a figure. I have Goliath. I've got Hudson. I've got Broadway, and I've got Brooklyn. Oh, and I've got Bronx. I've got little. I got him.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I just need to find me a Lexington. So
there you go. Put it on your Amazon wish list. People, get him a Lexington, please.
He's on my Amazon wish list if you'd like to get him for me. So, yeah, he won't call him Broadway. He's not Broadway. He's Brooklyn. Brooklyn gets on the motorcycle and takes off and leaves his two brothers behind, which I think is kind of a douche move. And they go back to Goliath and says, yeah, Brooklyn took the motorcycle and didn't even give us a turn. And Goliath's just sitting here trying to read a book, trying to figure out what all of these new slang words are, and he's just like, guys, leave me alone. I have a book. I'm going to murder you with it. Meanwhile, Brooklyn is having the time of his life.
The boy looks cool.
Yeah, he's going on this very toyetic car. I love whenever he's running from the cops, which incidentally, children don't ever run from the cops. But when Brooklyn is running from the cops and he spreads his wings out and basically turns the entire bike into a glider, I thought that was super cool. Cool. And then, of course, he makes the mistake of seeing other people on motorcycles, and he thinks, "Oh, kindred spirits, we can go hang together," and they just end up like thrashing him with chains, like, "Ah, the monster! Kill it! Kill it! Kill it!"
I thought the Sons of Anarchy were cool guys. Nope.
I know. It seems like to me, dude, that's awesome. I love the wings. That's how they'd be in real life. But no, this is a cartoon. It's got to be this way. And in the ensuing onslaught, the bike is destroyed, and another gargoyle comes to his aid. And
by a single bullet.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's
by a single bullet that bike's destroyed. I've got to
It's cartoons. You know, that's just how it works. Everything explodes. If you were to shoot a horse with a gun, the horse would explode. Who could this mysterious savior be who saves Brooklyn from the biker gang? Why, it's Demona. Demona has returned, and surprise, surprise, she's not dead. Because I could have sworn she was dead in the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she comes to him and she's like, wait, you don't understand. I've been so lonely. This is where the temptation part comes in, because I think that we're supposed to interpret that as just Brooklyn wants a friend. No, Brooklyn is kind of a horn dog, and he's very lonely at this point. And somebody very hot comes up to him and is like, I want to be your friend. And he's like, okay, we'll be friends. No. You're pretty. I like your loincloth.
She does propose something quite intriguing, and that is that she proposes that she has been through something that nobody else can understand, and it's happened over hundreds of years.
Yes, it is quite a strange thing to say, isn't it? But don't worry, it's totally not setting up anything later. Now, I will say,
it's enough to bait him. It's enough to bait him.
I will say, when Demona's entire story is told, it's told over the course of 3 episodes.
Let me guess, season 2.
Season 2, yes.
Which is season.
This season doesn't exist. Yeah. Season 2, it's told over the course of 3 episodes, and it is emotionally devastating. Yeah. It is probably one of the most emotionally devastating episodes ever. And at the end, you're like, I feel so sorry for her.
Oh, no, great. She's got my feelings.
She's a murderer, but I feel so bad for her. But Demona is basically saying, hey, us gargoyles got to stick together. I tried to convince Goliath, but I need to convince you that we can't trust humans. Yeah. What I like about this is that Demona mixes truth and fabrication. Because, you know, It would have been so easy to write whenever Brooklyn says, well, what about Elisa? It would have been so easy for Demona to say, Elisa's just like all of them. She will stab you in the... She says, oh, you know what? She's probably the exception to the rule. Like, yeah, Elisa's cool. She's cool. It's masterful manipulation. And she is. Demona is manipulative right here. She is manipulating Brooklyn to do what she wants.
She also has that great line about, and I think it's the same when she says about, well, the humans were used to us 1,000 years ago.
Yeah. How did that go?
How did that, that's a great point. It's a great point.
Yeah, she's never completely wrong. Now, again, she's manipulating, but she manipulates with the truth. And one of the truths is, I think, I'm always a little shocked at how much guns come into play in this series. Because they never have laser guns like they had on G.I. Joe. They have guns. And so often you see these weapons used in this show, and it's jarring. But this is one of the ways that Demona manipulates Brooklyn, is by saying, look at what they do to each other. That is a flippin' murder scene right there.
It's a great point, because every time someone does have a gun so far, I've noticed, there's stakes to them having a gun.
There is.
Which is not always the case in cartoon shows, as we know.
Sorry, I'm biting my tongue.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. And then, of course, you got that physical touch to the horny gargoyle.
Yeah.
I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend, Brooklyn. You have to listen to me, Brooklyn. You have to listen to me. I'm on your side, Brooklyn.
He's just like that. This loincloth doesn't leave much to the imagination. Can you please stop? Great scenes. It's masterfully written scenes, and I like to say for a cartoon, but even for live action, this would be darn good writing.
Yeah, I'm actually, in the time of that 90s too, would have been very. It's just really interesting. They went with a female villain, like that really big bad villain is. It's probably against a lot of what the movement would have been back then to do that. The instinct would have been not to have a female villain, but she's so damn good at being a villain, and it adds all these extra complexities you add to that by her being female, and being right.
Voiced by somebody who's playing one of the most wholesome and gentle characters on television at the time, Marina Sirtis, Counselor Troy on Star Trek. Because she's venomous and vicious in this role.
You go from the most empathetic being in the planet to no empathy whatsoever.
Yeah, she is, as you like to say, a word that rhymes with switch and is not witch. And exactly. And it just gets worse from here on out. Back at the Erie building, Elisa has come to talk to Goliath. And she says, Goliath, listen to me. Xanatos isn't going to be in prison forever. He's going to come back, and you're going to be vulnerable. And Goliath is just like, we're going to stay here. We're going to protect this place. Look at my pecs.
We won.
Yeah, we won. He's very simplistic and very naive.
Yeah, he doesn't really know anything about land ownership and corporate law in America.
And he is such a drama queen. Goliath is a drama queen. And he always has been, and he will continue to be a drama queen.
That's interesting.
No matter how wise and learned he becomes in this era, he's always going to be a drama queen. But Brooklyn, who has just arrived back, is just like, we should listen to her because we can't trust humans. Demona's in his head. Again, using the trust that she says that Elisa has and the distrust of humans. Again, masterful manipulation.
But she's supporting his experience too, though.
Yeah.
His current experience hasn't been positive with humans.
It really hasn't been.
So she's she's only enforcing his own thoughts in many ways.
Yes. But anyway, the argument that is about to erupt between Goliath and Brooklyn is cut short by the rising sun. They turn into rocks, and again,
I love that mechanism.
Elisa's just like, that's one way to end an argument.
Brilliant line, because it's true. It's great. It's a great mechanism.
Thankfully, this is a joke they really didn't play a whole lot into. I think they may do it one or two more times, but that's really the end of the joke, because I think it would have gotten old after a while.
Yeah, it would have gotten old.
Okay, I put this image in there because I love this cityscape. And it's one of those things you can tell immediately what it is. Of course, this is pre 9/11, so we got the Twin Towers there. But if you look really close at this image, you realize how ingeniously and artistically simple it is. Because the buildings are really just geometric shapes with a few lines through it. And the Statue of Liberty actually has very little detail on it. but it's just the lighting that they've used. They've just made this spectacularly wonderful piece of art there, and they didn't have to do that.
No,
and I don't know if they ever really used this again.
You know what? I think they were
each
very
episode.
smart with their budget. Like, I think they would have had a very strict budget, and they made a lot of because those backgrounds are very layered backgrounds. Even before you start getting to the foreground imagery there, it's yeah. I actually really appreciate. It took me a couple episodes, but I've really come to love this animation style that they've come up with.
It may not be as refined and as
doesn't matter
HD as things are today, but it looks darn good.
I mean, you're looking at a couple of guys who love. We've been talking about He-Man for over a year. We love Filmation, so
yes,
yeah,
just fantastic. So Demona's game is to trick Brooklyn into stealing the Grimmorum Arcanorum, which was the book of the It was the mage's book, the one that had the spell in it that turned them into stone for 1,000 years. Of course, they have it at the Erie Building because, of course, it's one of Xanatos's books. And they say, bring it here. We're going to cast a spell that's going to help Goliath see things our way. So he brings it to Demona. Demona's got the book. She leafs through it maniacally, just like, what was that? Nothing. I just remembered a joke somebody told me last week.
Yeah.
And Brooklyn returns to the Erie Building and tells Goliath, hey, I found this really cool place called the Cloisters. It's like the world we came from. And of course, Goliath is like, ooh, vacation, field trip, let's go. Because you can tell Goliath has a longing for that period. They bring him there, and I really like Goliath's expression here because he's usually a very solemn, sad person, but he's actually like uplifted by this. So of course it can't last because we have to make Goliath suffer. He's the O'Brien of Gargoyles. Goliath must suffer. And that is when Demona shows up and says, hey, look what I got. And Goliath, of course, is just completely shocked. He knows it's going to be bad. And it is bad because Demona casts a spell that turns Goliath into an unthinking zombie. Because how else could Demona bring Goliath to her side than by taking away his choice?
Yeah.
Not giving him a choice at all.
Yeah.
Again, temptation is not good, kids. Unless they are like Nabisco temptations. Those are good. Brooklyn sees that this is wrong and rebels against Demona, and Demona, of course, responds in a very measured way of, sending Goliath after Brooklyn to stop him because she was fibbing.
Brooklyn never had a chance though. If that was a one-on-one, Brooklyn would be host.
Brooklyn would be a little red paste in the floor.
Yeah.
And even if he got past Goliath, Demona would wipe the floor with him. I mean, look at that. She's holding him up with one hand. Demona is not a force to be trifled with, but thankfully Brooklyn is smart.
No steroids. It was all natural.
No steroids. It's all natural, all rage. She has the roid rage without the roids.
Yes.
Brooklyn, however, is not operating under rage and anger. He operates with intelligence, and whenever he tussles with Demona temporarily, he rips the pages out of the book. And he's ready to fight back. And so using the spell that is in the pages. Yeah, it's such a great, you have the book, but I have the spell.
Yeah, it's a big, you know what.
Yeah, yes, here's my claw.
It retains a finger and it retains the letter F.
Yeah, so, which I thought was kind of like, yeah, I can win the fight this way, but at the same time it feels wrong because he says, Goliath, get her. So he's basically controlling zombie Goliath. Great scene right here whenever she's trying to get away and Goliath just like smashes into her. And I just love the fact that she takes the book at one point and just like smack, hit him in the head with the book. I remember the first time I watched it, I laughed out loud because I thought that was the funniest imagery I'd ever seen in my life. I knocked my microphone sideways. Of course, Demona being, it is a great scene. Demona being the treacherous tart she is, throws the book into the water.
Yes.
And that's the only place maybe where they can find a reversal spell. So Brooklyn dives down to get it and catches it. Unfortunately, that means Demona has escaped, and I'm sure she won't be back.
No, not at all.
I'm sure she's gone forever.
This is okay for someone who never watched the show. This episode particularly gave me a sense of how dangerous Demona could be. It was the first time
absolutely.
we had hints of it, but this is like smacking you in the head with a bat of how dangerous she could be.
There is an episode.
Like her. Like her.
There is an episode in the second season. I'm not going to say the circumstances because I don't want to spoil anything. But there's a scene where she straight up is murdering people on the street, and she's laughing the entire time. She's having the time of her life, just going up and down, just casually murdering people. And it's not like, oh, he'll wake up later. No, it's like, boom, dead. Boom, dead.
Wow.
Boom, dead. And she's like,
I love it.
Yeah,
I think I'm liking her more.
Yeah, she's definitely the bad guy. But it does have one of my, what I think is an extremely clever fix, is that they can't find the spell to turn Goliath back to normal.
Yeah.
And so Elisa walks up to him and says, I'm holding the spell. That means you have to do what I say. For the rest of your life, I want you to act like you're not under a spell. And he pops right out of it.
It's fantastic. It's such it's like a smart kid would come up with that. And I like that, the idea of someone, why don't you just do this? It was like the audience had told the episode, well, why don't you just do that? And then you don't have to worry about it. It's a logical fix that I think a really smart kid would come up with.
I'm so glad we decided to give Elisa a second line.
She's earned her money this week.
Yes, she did. And then we end with the gargoyles getting on the ledge of the Erie building as the sun begins to rise, and Lexington asks the question, whoa, what happened to the motorcycle? Oh, it blew up. Oh, what?
Yes. Yeah, that's great.
It's a terrific ending gag, and that is the episode Temptation, the return of Demona,
good episode.
But not
really
the
good
last
episode.
time we will see her. Yes, I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, it was really good, really quickly paced. It was a lot of fun. Again, world building again, which is great. Seeing that the fact that not only is she kind of a physical threat and evil, but she is a master manipulator. I'm like, wow, they're going places with this character. I like it.
Absolutely. It's very rare to see a series find its footing this fast, because these characters, as you have them now, is pretty much how you have them for the rest of the series, minus some growth that some of them shows. And looking at this episode, one of the characters that has the most growth is actually Brooklyn. Brooklyn has tremendous growth, to the point that he kind of, I don't really want to say what happens, but let's just say he rises in the clan.
Yeah,
and it's really fulfilling when it happens. Because it feels earned. So next week we have an episode that is not only remembered as the most controversial episode of Gargoyles. If you make a list of the most controversial animated episodes of cartoons of all time, this is usually found in the top 3.
Wow. Deadly Force.
It's an episode called Deadly Force. And I'm not going to say anything about it, but if you've seen it, you know which one I'm talking about.
Never heard that Gargoyles episode was controversial.
Oh, this one was super controversial to the point that it was actually not even allowed to be shown on television following its first airing. I
can't wait now.
And it's kind of weird because it causes continuity issues in the later part of the season. And it's even today, the version you see on Disney Plus is edited.
Oh, I'm sure you're going to be able to fill me in on the unedited version then? Do you remember much about it? Can you see it anywhere?
There's not a huge amount of things that are different. There's like 2 seconds that are cut.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it's blood.
Okay. Whoa.
Yeah,
okay.
There's quite a lot of blood that is cut from this episode. But this is actually...
Oh, Mickey.
This is actually one of my favorites of the season. Not really for its message, but just for its flipping audacity. The
Wow.
audacity
Right.
that they had in this
It's
episode
a poke
was
out
just
Mickey in the writer's room for this one.
pretty much. I have an idea.
Yeah.
Someone get the paddles. I think Mickey's about to flatline. But yeah, it's I'm really looking forward to your reaction on this one.
Well, we'll find out next week, won't we, Jase?
Absolutely. So be sure to join us next week as we use a little bit of deadly force on my friend here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. If you would do us a favor, please like, subscribe, hit that notification icon, and comment because we want to keep the algorithm gods happy. And if you would also be so kind, please check out the video description below for a link to our Patreon. Help fund us so we can continue to do the fun, stupid things that we do every week. And so for myself and my companion...
Well, we spent all that money going to New York for this fact-finding mission. We've got to get that money back somehow.
Please. My children keep asking me, Daddy, where's our money? Daddy, why haven't we eaten? Daddy, why don't you ever hug us? So anyway, Patreon. Maybe I'll hug my children. I don't know about you, but I think Demona will have changed her ways when we see her again.
Look, maybe she's just having a bad day.
Bad couple of 100 years. But she just needs to even out a little bit. She'll be fine.
Yeah, because women are always consistent.
Absolutely. You know what? Tell them to calm down. They'll calm down every single time.